In mobile technology, it's the same story every single time. The media goes crazy over every hot new device, but after that review period wears off, so does the buzz behind that new toy you might still want to buy, but that now faces new competition. The thing is, in the real world, things don't really happen that way. For most of us, aging is just as important as the moment you unbox your product for the first time. It's how that device performs after extensive use that really matters down the line. So let's do something about it. Let's take a second look at Huawei's fashion flagship and see if it still deserves a spot in our favorites list. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and this is the Huawei P10 After the Buzz. I think I said it once in a podcast and I'll say it again today. I love the way Huawei has matured in the flagship space. A few years ago, people bought Huawei's because it was all they could afford, but in 2017, a good amount of my friends already know what the Huawei P10 is, and they do desire one. One of the main reasons for its popularity is because, let's face it, this phone is gorgeous. Some do attribute it to its resemblance to the iPhone, and I'd have to agree partially. I mean, even the pentalobe screws are here. But you know what? I'm gonna say that it puts the iPhone to shame instead in a lot of ways. For starters, there is no camera hump waddle to deal with, and encourages what I'd call fitting a headphone jack into such thin hardware. The only two things I wish this phone had over my time using it are water resistance and stereo speakers. And to answer the question of how much time, I've actually carried this phone on and off for 3 months or so ever since MWC. During that time, the hardware pretty much hasn't aged, and one of the main reasons has to do with the bundled case. Like seriously, dear case makers, if you could make something this thin and fancy, even I'd be willing to use it. And sure, this case is a lint magnet, but the result is a phone that's pristine, even up to the chamfers that are not protected by the case. Another reason why it hasn't aged is thanks to its internals. Even the latest Snapdragon 835 processor is barely as powerful as the Kirin 960, and my unit is of 64GB that includes expandable storage or dual SIM capabilities, so there is really no way to go wrong with this much power. And the reason why the amount of power is so crucial is because I have yet to see an Android phone perform this well. Touch the fingerprint scanner, boom. Slide within the UI, boom. Multitask between applications, call on the notification shade. Like seriously, this phone is Spartan on its animations, and it just feels like if there is no lag whatsoever. Launch your favorite game, and yes, not only does it launch the game faster than your standard flagship, but even within gameplay, there is no lag to report on. People may say what they want about EMUI. I mean, let's face it, in the past it was horrible, but version 5.1 pretty much seems like if it were just the skin on top of stock Android. And to be honest, not even stock Android performs this well, at least in my opinion. Now, to be honest with you, I'm still not a fan of the unique features like the navigation gestures on the home button, but you always have the option to just bring the software navigation keys and use this phone like if it were a Pixel. And then my other minor complaint is the lack of adoption of Android 7.1. Not for the sake of having the update, but because of battery life, as I will just call it decent on the P10. It's not great, it's not bad, it'll just get you through the day, and sure, you have the fastest charging available from Huawei, but really, sometimes you just want your flagship to last a little longer, and that's really Mate 9 territory. The P10 will barely scratch the day. I also have to agree with Juan in this phone not being stellar when it comes to audio. Even with the existence of a headphone jack, audio performance, even on phone calls, is what I'd call average, nothing really stellar. Now you know what I won't call average? Oh my god, this camera combo. There are currently 2 companies that are doing dual cameras right. LG with its wide angle and Huawei with the extra monochrome sensor. These are seriously some of the most beautiful and accurate photos that I've taken with a phone. Doesn't matter if it's during the day or at night, this phone will always outshine most of its competition. Now, the funniest thing is that this is whenever I choose to take photos in color. See, I've fallen in love with black and white photography thanks to the monochrome sensor. Up to the point where before I filmed this video, most of the photos that I had taken were all in black and white. And then video is not necessarily the most stable, but it does get the job done for the most part. And then obviously people like selfies. I'm not a big fan, but this phone does a really good job even in low light. About the only thing I'd change about this camera is the user interface, as basics like HDR should not be a mode that I have to be constantly switching on. Overall, if I had to stack up my list of favorite smartphones of 2017, the Huawei P10 would easily make my top 5. I'm seriously in love with this petite little package of powerful hardware and beautiful design, and seriously, one of the best camera combos that I have ever tested on a phone. You know, I usually carry 2 phones, with one of these being a smaller one, and the P10 has replaced the Google Pixel ever since I started using it back in Barcelona. If anything, my only wish would be, as I said, water and dust resistance in addition to stereo speakers are pretty much the only features that make me drift away from this phone every now and then. But if you are considering buying a Huawei P10, go for it. I highly recommend this phone, even today. Folks, just like this, we've got more episodes of After the Buzz, so make sure you follow us on social media and hit that subscribe button down below for more videos like this one. You can also follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.